Hey ladies, I am coming making this video message and I want to talk to you all about healing from your broken heart. The reason why I'm making this video message is because a lot of women now, they have an obsession with having a kingdom spouse. And I have talked to you all about this for a very long time. I have been here and there, been releasing these video messages, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail today. I want you all to understand that the devil knows what a lot of your deepest desires are. And the devil knows this because a lot of you always are sharing with other people what it is that you want or what it is you expect God to do. Or maybe somebody came into your life and told you a particular thing, and because you heard that particular thing, you go and you announce it to everybody. The devil watches us, the devil studies us, and because of the enemy doing this, he will use the very thing that he knows you are anxious to do and that you are aching to do. He will use it to single-handedly try to destroy you. I want you all to know that a lot of women nowadays, because they have been heartbroken by a man and they gave up on a man or they gave up on love, the enemy will use that foothold to come into many of you all's hearts and lives because he knows that after a certain amount of time, you expect to get a husband. You are waiting for a man to love you. You are waiting for a man to take claim to you. This is not every woman, but there are a lot of women that does this. And what is happening is the kingdom spouse deception. Now, I have also talked to you all, because this is kind of like a two-part video. I have also talked to you all about the whole you're about to be a millionaire and billionaire deception as well. Now, let me say this before I go back to the message. God, I believe, is talking to different people about what he is about to do in our lives as his sons and daughters. I do definitely believe that God is talking to different people and he is telling them he is going to change the lives of some of his children. I believe he's telling certain people, I am going to make certain ones in the body of Christ millionaires. I am going to make certain ones in the body of Christ a wife or a husband. Some of you all, he has specifically spoke to you and told you that this is what he's about to do in your life. Now, if that fits you, this video message is not for you. But if those of you who have a very, very strong passion to be married, so much to the point that even if a man interacts with you a little bit on a day-to-day basis, you are trying to marry that man off, then my sister, I will tell you, you are probably being deceived. If you are going around telling a bunch of people, because you are seeing numerous messages up here on YouTube and in other places where people are telling you you are going to get a kingdom spouse, you, my sister, may be deceived. The enemy in this season is really using a lot of distractions. And one of the two main distractions that I see is kingdom spouse or you're about to be a millionaire. And what is also happening in the body of Christ is that a lot of men and women, instead of really seeking God, instead of being patient, instead of testing the spirit, instead of taking your time if you are dating to really get to know that man or that woman you're dating, a lot of you all, you're jumping into relationships with somebody you really don't know. And then when a disappointment happens, then a lot of you all you will get angry. But I told you all before, and maybe 10 or 15 messages ago, I told you all that when God is speaking, the enemy is also speaking as well. And if there is a foothold that is open of the main things that you are blatantly out loud telling everybody, the enemy will use that against you, or he will try to use it against you. There are many content creators and YouTubers who come up here and they copy off each other. They piggyback and they copy off each other because they've caught on to, okay, if I make a trendy topic, it's going to get me more money. It's going to get me clout. It's going to make people like me. It's going to make people flock to me. But a lot of them don't understand, and I think it's through spiritual immaturity. They don't understand that this can become dangerous because there are very vulnerable sons and daughters who really, really sincerely and genuinely are waiting for love. But because they trust certain men and women of God who put prophet or prophetess in front of their name, they are finding out that a lot of things that have been told to them is not coming to pass. I'm telling you all again, if you find yourself now focusing more on particular things than you are your relationship with God, or you are now making certain things your idol or golden calf, that man, mainly the ladies I'm talking to, but I'm going to throw the men in there too, that is your golden calf. I told you all before, the golden calf is what the people did in biblical times. When Moses would go back and forth talking to God and spending time with God, this would go on for weeks and months. And because he would be gone for a certain amount of time, they started worshiping other gods. One of the gods they started worshiping is that they made a golden calf. Who or what is the golden calf in your life? Is a kingdom spouse your golden calf? Is having money and being a billionaire or a millionaire your golden calf? Is you getting fame to the point you shoot up to a very high level? Is that your golden calf? And you are doing everything in your power to become popular and to get known. And so now these different things that I'm naming, this is the idolatry in your life. I want you all as God's sons and daughters to recognize when the enemy is not only distracting you, but when he is also deceiving you. And it comes from a place of unhealed hurt. It comes from a place of unhealed hurt. I found out because I have one-on-one sessions, and I've come across a couple of women. One woman, this is an older woman, she had an obsession with a kingdom spouse. She was always talking about how she knows a particular man is her kingdom spouse. And I would ask her certain questions, very simple questions. They were not deep. I would ask her, do you interact with this man? Is he calling you? Is he text messaging you? Have you all gone out to lunch or brunch or dinner? Does he come to your house? What connection do you all have besides you in your head saying that you know for a fact that that man is your kingdom spouse? And she could not answer the question. No, I'm sorry. She answered it, but she told me no, she has no connection with him. She just said she used to be with him. But I started to notice over time that man became her golden calf. And then it was some deception there. Because how have so many women and some men and people of God in the body of Christ, how have a lot of us got to the point that we won't even have certain connections to people, no interactions, but we'll make up something in our head and really believe that it's the truth? There's no way you can say you know for a fact a certain man, ladies, or a certain woman, fellas, is your kingdom spouse, but you're strictly just going off what you feel from your unhealed hurt or from your personal emotions, and God has not verified it. And then on top of that, you have no type of interaction or connection with them. For a lot of you all, that man or woman may not even know you literally exist. But the enemy will get in because he knows you are hurt. He knows that you are at a level where you are desperate. You want that attention from a man. You want the fairy tale. You want to be able to brag and show off to your friends and your family members and your church members that you got a ring on your finger. You want to do this. I talked about this in a video I released last year over the summer. Ladies, I want you all to heal. I want you all, if you are guilty of this, and again, I say this in love, if you have made a certain man your golden calf, if you have gotten to the place where you are desperate and you have a fear in you, because this is something else the enemy uses. The enemy will use fear tactics. He will use anxiety. And a lot of you all, you've gotten deceived because you can't stay off of Facebook. You can't stay off of Instagram. You can't stay off of TikTok. You cannot stay off of YouTube. And so when you hear these different people across the board talking about once a woman hits 32, 34, 35, 40, 41 and above, that men don't want them. So now you're anxious for love. Now you're anxious for marriage. Don't think for 1 second that the enemy doesn't know this. And he knows it because you open up your mouth. He knows it because he's studying you. He's studying the moves that you make. If you're sitting back all day watching a bunch of Kingdom Spouse videos, and you're sitting back all day and you're obsessing about a man that you see that lives in your neighborhood, but he's never said boo to you, and you begin to pray about that man, and it's not spirit-led. It's not the Spirit of God leading you. It's your personal lust. It's your personal desire. It's you operating from a place and from a position of desperation and hurt and loneliness. And so now it has turned into full-blown deception. And now you scoff at God. Now a lot of you all, if a prophet or prophetess prophesied that you would get married, now you're calling them a false teacher, a false preacher, a false prophet or prophetess because you have not seen it manifest in your real life. It's a case-by-case basis when it comes to this. But when I tell you all, and I say it with all humility, when we are walking with God, we can never get familiar with God. I just talked to you all about this in a live I did maybe a week or two ago. We don't know every single next move that God is about to make. I don't care if you've been walking with God for 20, 30, 50 years. We can never get familiar with what God is going to do next. There are occasions where God will tell us, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that. But it will not always be like that. Sometimes as sons and daughters of Christ, we are literally out here walking on blind faith. That's it. God will close up the mouths of prophets and prophetess. He will stop speaking and revealing to certain men and women of God or pastors and preachers, because he wants you at a point and at a level where you are tapping and tuning in to him. I'm letting you guys know, if you know you are hurt, if you know you are hurt, and if you know that pain from your last relationship or from your divorce has not been ironed out, and you know that that's something you still battling, because it can become a dangerous thing if there is residue left from an old marriage or an old relationship. This is why a lot of women become desperate, because that last man that hurt you and wounded you, you still have not 100% let it go. You moved on without moving on, if you all catch my drift. And so what a lot of you all do is that you'll latch on to a certain man, or there's a certain man you may go to church with or work with, and he's simply just nice to you. He's just nice. He smiles at you. He may sit and have a conversation with you, and he may not even be attracted to you or even look at you like that. Not saying he thinks you're an ugly woman, but he may not even look at you like that. But a lot of women, they will go and try to marry that man off. They will go and tell their friends. I've seen it so much in the body of Christ. Well, women would just go and say, I think that's my kingdom spouse. I know that's my husband. So-and-so told me that was my husband. I will never forget, ladies, and I'm only telling you all this to help you. This was years ago. But I remember, and then I'm going to tell you all something about my personal situation. But this is nothing new. This is no new information. This is something old as well. But I remember, and I believe I talked about this in a live as well, like a year or two ago. But it was a young lady that came to me, and she said that God told her a particular man in the ministry was her husband. And so I was listening. I said, okay, so he's your husband? She said, yes. Kiki, I know this man is my husband, even though he's in a relationship now. So I said, excuse me, I said, he's in a relationship now? I said, oh, so he's dating somebody and they're like on the rocks? Did he tell you they're about to break up? She said, no, he's married. He had just recently got married. And I'm sitting back looking at her like, you cannot be serious right now. I'm like, that's not your husband. That's a married man. She said, no, it don't matter. She argued me down. She said, I know that's my husband. The living God told me he was going to be my husband. I said, no, God doesn't operate like that. Why would God come and tell you that a married man, and he just got married, why would God tell you that that's your husband? God is not about to be in no type of confusion or mess like that. I said, a demon spoke that to you. But because, and I say this respectfully, because of her desperation, because of her being lonely for so long, the enemy knew that. He was able to sense that. She probably had beforehand been going around telling everybody she was going to get married. She wanted a husband. And he took that. The enemy took that and put her eyes and her attention probably on a man that she probably just had a small attraction to. But it blew up into something big, and it turned into full-blown deception. It didn't matter how I kept trying to talk to her. I'm like, God is not about to bless you with a married man. She was like, oh, he got married because his parents forced him to marry her, but he really doesn't love her. He loves me. And I hate to see these type of situations in the body of Christ when it comes to God's daughters. Some men have gone through it, but you see it more with women. You see it more with women. And it is coming from hurt and an unhealed place in their heart. It is coming from a place where a lot of women, a lot of you all, you have been single for a very, very long time. And you are angry about it. And you are tired of it. And so any little bit of attention some of you all get from a man, you take it and you run with it. All I'm saying in this video message is to be more aware of not only your emotions, but understand that on this walk, you have to exercise patience. Whatever God has for you is for you, but don't jump ahead of God. Don't jump ahead of God. Don't always rely on a prophetic voice, because prophets are not always going to be available to you. Your pastor is not always going to be available to you to tell you certain things. This is the time where we have to get to know God for ourselves. And I'm saying to the body of Christ as a whole, just as a whole, We have all, because I'm guilty of it too, we are guilty of being distracted more than we should be. Too many distractions. And this is why I'm going to keep putting out and promoting that you all come off of TikTok, you come off of Instagram, and you come off of Facebook. I'm going to keep promoting this. I'm going to keep promoting that, because when you all log into these social media apps, you see these women getting married. You see them falling in love. They have a way, celebrities have a way, or certain people you follow, they have a way of making their life look perfected. They have a way of making their life appear like they have it all and they have it all together. And if you are already struggling with jealousy, if there's a desperation in you, if you are tired of waiting and you don't have a spirit of patience, which is an actual fruit of the spirit, you will look at this stuff and take on what you've seen and try to apply it to your life. But that's not really what God has for you. That is the point of this entire video message. Body of Christ, I am putting out some very hard and heavy messages today, just for all of you to pray about and really seek God about, because these conversations and state of affairs have to be talked about. And I do it unapologetically. I do it fearlessly. And I've been doing it for a long time, addressing these same repeated messages for so long. But I'm bringing it back to you all again. All I see in my feed is a bunch of stuff with kingdom spouses and a bunch of stuff with millionaires, millionaire this, millionaire that. Again, if God spoke to you as an individual, stand on what God told you. Stand on that. This is not for you. You're going to know if this message really is not for you, because I broke it down and I think I gave more than enough details. If God promised you something, certain things God have promised me. Whatever God have promised you, don't go around telling everybody. You all don't know. You have no idea who's speaking against you. You will tell somebody a promise God made to you. You will tell somebody a word that was given to you, and they will turn and go right behind your back and be laughing at you and pray against you or speak against you through gossip and say that it's not going to happen and call you out of your name, and you are not even aware of it. Keep what God tells you to yourself. Keep your personal private life protected. And stop getting caught up in what you see people showcasing on social media. It is time for us to seek God more and really be sincere and genuine in our interactions with God. I have to get better with it. You all have to get better with it. Us as a whole, all of us, we have got to seek God more and more and more. He's given us the grace to do it. We don't know for how long. But I'm just telling you all, as one of his daughters, get on that now. Seek God more. Don't just go to God because you want a husband or a wife or you want money. Ask God, God, you know what I'm looking for today? I'm looking for real healing. I'm looking for major deliverance. I'm looking for you to heal me from something that I went through years ago in my last relationship. Heal me, Father. Help me to be secure and confident with my relationship with you. And whatever you have for me, Father, I will be happy with that. No matter how long I get away, Father, I understand it's in your timing. Start talking to God like this, but really mean it. And things in your life will change. I told you all I was going to tell you something personal about myself. Let me tell you all this before I get out of here. I want to say about 11 or 12 years ago, I was in church, and this alleged prophetess, she came and prophesied to me. And she said, the man that you love, God's gonna touch him and God's gonna do this and that. And none of what that woman told me was going to happen has happened. Actually, everything she said has been the total opposite. And one thing that you guys got to know is that typically, I'm not saying God moves like this in every situation. I'm not going to even take no power and authority and say that I know this for a fact as far as, this how God going to move. But all I'm saying is that typically, before a prophet or prophetess comes to you, or just anybody, and they give you a word, God deals with you on that thing or things first. God drops it in your spirit first, or you dream about it, or you feel an impression upon your spirit. Usually God deals with you first. So if you all are coming in contact with anybody who's calling themselves a prophet or a prophetess, and they are telling you all this stuff and it sounds off, and you be like, that don't even sound right, and ain't none of this fit in my life, I'm telling you all, test the spirit and take it to God. When this so-called woman of God said this to me, like I said, this is about 14 years ago, none of it has happened. But as she was speaking, when I tell y'all in my spirit, I said, this woman is off. This woman has no clue what she's talking about. None of what she's telling me matches. And God have never told me this. Why would God? And I'm not saying God can't do this. I'm not limiting the Lord. But why would God tell somebody all of this stuff in detail about you and your life, but he not deal with you? He not tell you anything? Now, in some cases, certain words have been given to other people, and God will use them to come and verify it or confirm it with you, or, it'll sit well with your spirit. But if you all are getting these messages and these words and it's not sitting well with you and you confused about it and you got all these questions, I'm telling you, it may not be God. It may be a demonic force. It may be a unqualified, fake or false prophet or prophetess. Whatever the case, heal and genuinely and sincerely seek God. And guys, stop the obsession with the kingdom spouses. Stop the obsession with money. God knows who we are. He knows what we thirsty for. If you are the type of person, you thirsty for money, you thirsty for a man, you're thirsty for a woman, you're thirsty for clout and fame, and you want to be seen, God will keep you humble to protect you. You all keep saying, it's the enemy attacking me. Every time I try to get ahead, I keep getting pushed back. No, ma'am, no, sir. God knows your heart. He knows the minute he blesses you with certain stuff, you going to act a fool. He knows as a woman, if you thirsty for marriage, he knows the minute he sends a man in your life, you will dog out all other single women. I've seen it before. I've seen women be just as single as you. Men are not checking for them. And finally, a man, he sees value in her. That one man sees her to be just the cream of the crop. And if he marries her or they get into an exclusive relationship, that same woman would be arrogant as hell and dog out single women. Celebrity women have done it. They will say, you're not doing enough, or we as single women are not doing enough, and that's why we not married. But they will forget that they was married they were single for 10, 15, 20 years. They will forget all about that. They only been married for a hot second. But they will be overly vocal about all single women. That's just the truth. But anyway, guys, let me get out of here. That's the video message. It was heavy and thick enough. I'm going to leave that alone, because I know that's probably going to step on some toes. But I'm okay with it. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.